Okay, guys, today we're still talking about quadratics. We're going to talk about specifically quadratic roots and the discriminant. So let's go ahead and define a few of these things so we know what we're talking about. So a quadratic root is the points at which the parabola intersects the x-axis. It is also called the zeros, the solutions, and the x-intercepts. So this one thing has 4 different names. So when it's asked in a question, you got to know it all means the same thing. So it's called the roots, zeros, solutions, or the x-intercepts. It's called the zeros because when y equals 0, what is x is what it's referring to. Okay, so when we have 2 solutions, that means that the graph could look something like this, going up or down, but it's crossing twice. When it is 1 solution, it could look like this because it's only crossing it 1 time. When it's no solution, means it's never crossing the x-axis. So yeah, there's nothing there. It's never going to cross. All right, so let's look at how do we figure this out when we're given an exact problem. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we got to find the vertex. Okay, so we find the vertex first. So we plug into negative b over 2a because that's how my formula for finding the vertex. So I'm going to have negative 4 over 2 times 1, which gives me negative 2. Remember, we want that in the middle. So I'm going to have negative 2. So now that means I can take my handy dandy calculator, punch this into the y equals. So we punch x squared. Remember, we use this button for the x. And then I'm going to go to my table of values, second table. And I can just scroll and look at negative 2 when x equals negative 2. What is the y? Negative 9. And then I fill in my table in both directions from there. So I'm going to have negative 3, 4, 5, negative 1, 0, 1, negative 8, negative 5, 0. And notice the y-axis is where it repeats. Okay. And when I'm looking at this, I can see that right here, because remember, x-intercepts are written as some number, comma, 0. So when I'm looking at the table of values, I can see, oh, this is written in that format. This is written in that format. Okay, so therefore, those right there are my x-intercepts, which means they are my solutions. Now we need to see, well, let's make sure it's got a graph that way. So I'm going to plot my points. So I'm going to have negative 5, 0. And I have negative 4, negative 5. Then I have negative 3, negative 8. And then I have negative 1, negative 9. And then everything's going to repeat after that. So I really don't even have to count. I've just got to make sure that I do. And yep, and now I play connect the dots. So, and to write my solution, and now we can also look at, excuse me, the graph on here. So I'm going to go to Zoom. Oh, I'm going to press enter first. Zoom 6, so it's on the standard window. zoom 6 for the standard window. And now I'm going to see how it graphs, and I can see where it is. Now you'll notice mine's also drawing a red line there because I have it doing something in the calculator. I'm going to teach you how to do that right now, or in just a second after we write down what the solution answer should look like. Okay, because right now, there's my roots. So my answer should look like in a curvy bracket, and we write it in order from least to greatest. We write -5, 1. Okay, so write answer in set notation, least to greatest. Write it in set notation from least to greatest. All right, now we're going to talk about, well, how can I figure out this and confirm this in the calculator? Excuse me. So we're going to write down those steps. So for in the calculator, first thing that you do is type equation into y equals, okay, which is what I've done. I've got a nasty glare here. I have to switch sides so that the glare is not on the calculator. Focus is right. Okay. Step 2 is we click zoom 6 so that the graph, we can see the graph 6, or zoom fit so that it'll fit it. Let's fit 0. Normally it's 6 for standard. Okay, step 3. Oh, I missed a step. In y equals, you're going to type the equation into y equals y to y1, and then you're going to type y equals 0 into y2, because I want to have 2 lines or 2 things graphed in there. And then 3, we're going to hit second trace, the second button, and then trace. And what it does in here, I'm going to choose the number 5 because I want to find the intersection. I'm looking for the intersection of the 2 graphs. Okay, so I'm going to choose 5, and now it's going to graph both of them. Step 4, you're going to arrow up and over until on the x-intercept. So I'm going to arrow up, and then I'm going to go over until I'm hovering like right about where it would be. Okay, and then the last step, enter, press enter 3 times until you're going to see the word intersection. See 1, 2, 3, and see how it says the word intersection. So that right there is telling me 1, 0. That is one of my x-intercepts, which it is. So now I just do the same thing again to find the other one. So I'm going to do second trace 5, and now I'm going to arrow until I get on to the next intersection, and then I'm going to press enter 1, 2, 3 times till I see the word intersection, and there's the other one. And now I have both of my intersections. Now let's talk about the discriminant. Yes, with the, you still have to graph everything, but you've got the calculator. You still have to fill in your table of values. You still have to graph it, but it's able to give you, the calculator is able to give you your information quite quickly. The discriminant that's down here. Okay, So if we're talking about the discriminant, it is used, the discriminant is used to determine the number of solutions. So if it's just asking you how many solutions there would be, you would use the discriminant to determine that information. Okay. The formula for the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. Now, this formula, all this information is given on a formula chart, but it's inside of a formula we will learn, and you've got to understand where that is, and we'll get there. Okay. So you have D is, if D is greater than, so this is all D equals this information. If it's greater than 0, then there are 2 solutions. If D equals 0, then there is 1 solution. If D is less than 0, then there are 0 solutions. So we just have to plug into the formula and solve. So if I'm looking at this, so I need to determine what's the A. Remember, it's y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So I plug in my numbers. So I'm going to have 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times 4, because we have that A equals 1, B equals 5, C equals 4, and we plug in and we simplify. So we have 25 minus 4 times 4, which gives me 25 minus 16, which is 9. So that's going to be 2 solutions. Okay, looking at 12. All right, I've got, actually not 12. I want to do 8. Okay, my A is 1, B is -3, C is 10. So I've got a -3, so that's in parentheses. I've got to put that in parentheses. -3 squared minus 4 times 1 times 10. So that's going to give me 9 minus 4 times 10. So that's 9 minus 40. So that's going to give me a -31. If it's a negative number that's less than 0, then it is 0 solutions. Okay. You're to finish the notes in the classwork homework. Y'all have a great day. Thank you. If you have any questions, pause it, rewind, or come and ask me. Bye.